Ever seen a ship face off against a storm? It's insane how these massive vessels can get thrown around like nothing when the ocean gets angry. From giant tankers to cruise ships, the power of nature always wins. These ships are getting absolutely demolished by the waves. Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. Look at the size of those waves. That cruise ship is getting hammered by the storm. The ocean is in full beast mode, and this ship is right in the middle of it. Those waves must be at least 50 feet tall, crashing over the deck like a wrecking ball. The wind is so strong, it's literally bending the water, whipping it into a frenzy. Now look at how the ship is tilting. That's not normal. It's fighting to stay upright, but every time a wave slams into the side, it's getting shoved around like a toy boat. You can bet everything inside is pure chaos right now. Furniture is sliding, dishes are shattering, and passengers, they're holding on for dear life. Imagine being on board, trying to walk down a hallway, only to suddenly feel weightless as the ship drops into a deep wave trough. Then bam! It tilts hard the other way, sending people crashing into the walls. That water is definitely getting inside. The lower decks are probably already flooded, and if the waves keep smashing those windows, it's only going to get worse. And let's not forget the engines. If too much water gets in, they could stall out, leaving the ship completely at the mercy of the storm. This is the kind of storm that turns giants into scrap metal. The waves are relentless, the wind is howling, and the ship? It's hanging on by a thread. If this keeps up, there's only one outcome. The ocean always wins. But not all ships face the storm with the same fate. While some are at the mercy of monstrous waves, others, like the pilot boats, are built to navigate through the calm before the chaos. The calm waters right now aren't going to last long. Just a few miles offshore, the MSC Nicoletta II and the Independent Quest are waiting, hove to. Their massive hulls barely moving as they sit in the open sea. It's a peaceful scene, for now, but you can already feel the tension building in the air, can't you? That storm, Storm Isha, is creeping closer to the coast of Ireland, and it's coming in fast. Meanwhile, here we are aboard the Interceptor 48 pilot boat Baya, sleek and ready for anything. This isn't just any boat, it's on a sea trial. They're testing her capabilities while the storm rages in the distance. The boat's low to the water, cutting through the waves like a knife, a stark contrast to the massive, still ships waiting their turn to enter port. Notice how calm everything seems? The pilot boat is gliding smoothly, with the ships just sitting there, waiting for the signal to move. But there's a definite undercurrent of unease. Off in the distance, you can see the skies darkening as Storm Isha begins to show its teeth. The calm is about to be shattered. You can't help but think about how quickly things could change. Those giant ships, just sitting there, aren't built for rough waters. If the storm hits too hard, they'll be in trouble. Meanwhile, the Baya is just perfectly designed for this kind of chaos, small, fast, and able to dart in and out of dangerous weather. The pilot boat has the crucial job of getting those ships to safety before things get ugly. As the storm approaches, the calm before the storm feels so much more intense. You know what's coming. When that wind picks up, when those waves start crashing, everything changes. The challenge of navigating the storm has only just begun. Let's see how long it stays calm before Isha shows us its true power. While some ships are built to survive the storm, others aren't so lucky when disaster strikes. The Costa Concordia is a perfect example of how quickly things can spiral out of control at sea, even when everything seems smooth at first. On January 13th, 2012, just after 9:45 p.m., this massive Italian cruise ship slammed into a submerged rock off the coast of Isola del Giglio in the Tyrrhenian Sea. The ship's hull was torn apart, water flooded in, and the Costa Concordia began to tip to one side. What started as a relaxing voyage for over 4,200 passengers turned into a nightmare. The disaster could have been avoided, But Captain Francesco Schettino made a terrible decision. He veered off the planned course and decided to perform a dangerous salute maneuver, sailing far too close to the island to impress passengers and locals. But this time, the maneuver went horribly wrong. When the ship struck the reef, everything started falling apart. But it wasn't just the crash that caused the disaster. It was Schettino's delayed evacuation order and, shockingly, his abandonment of the ship while passengers were still trying to escape. Imagine the panic on board as the ship tilted further and further. The chaos was only made worse by the captain's irresponsible actions. Eventually, 32 people lost their lives, and the world watched in disbelief. Schettino was later sentenced to 16 years in prison for his role in the disaster. The Costa Concordia disaster will forever be remembered as a tragic example of human error and the danger of getting too close to the edge, literally and figuratively. While cruise ships like the Costa Concordia might face disaster in moments of human error, this Scottish fishing vessel called Audacious battled nature itself with every wave. Out in the northwest Atlantic, off the rugged coast of Scotland, this ship and its crew face an entirely different kind of fight, one against the raw, unforgiving power of the sea. The conditions here are brutal. The waves can reach 40 feet or more, crashing into the side of the ship with a force that feels like a freight train slamming into a wall. The wind howls like a beast as it rips across the open ocean, adding to the chaos of the situation. The crew of the Audacious doesn't have the luxury of being in a protected port or cruising along with the wind. They're in the middle of some of the roughest seas in the world, battling Mother Nature head-on. Out here, on these treacherous waters, ships like the Audacious are pushed to their limits. Every wave that crashes over the bow sends a shudder through the vessel, but these ships are built for just this. Unlike the luxury liners, fishing vessels are designed to take punishment, weathering extreme conditions that would send most other ships into peril. But that doesn't mean they're invincible. In situations like this, the stakes couldn't be higher. A single mistake, a wrong maneuver, or an equipment failure can quickly turn a rough journey into a life or death scenario. But for the crew of the Audacious, this is their reality, fighting the sea every day, knowing that only their skill and experience will help them survive the immense waves that rise around them. While fishing vessels like the Audacious brave the harsh waves of the northwest Atlantic, some ships find themselves in even more extreme conditions, facing the full fury of nature in the coldest corners of the Earth. This was the case for a Royal Navy warship during a patrol search against illegal fishing off the coast of Antarctica. The Southern Ocean, with its depths reaching 7,434 meters and temperatures hovering between -2 to 10 degrees Celsius, is infamous for its brutal weather. Known as the coldest and windiest ocean on Earth, it's a place where the rules of the sea are rewritten. The latitudes between 50 to 70 degrees south are nicknamed the Furious 50s and Shrieking 60s, referring to the ferocious winds and towering waves that churn across the water. In these hostile conditions, the Royal Navy warship was patrolling against illegal toothfish poachers when disaster struck. As the ship sailed through these treacherous waters, a massive monster wave hit the vessel frontally with no warning. The impact was devastating, slamming the warship with a force so strong it sent the ship rocking violently. In these waters, it isn't just the ships that are tested, it's the people aboard them. For the crew, this wasn't just a fight against waves, it was a battle for survival. The wave left a trail of destruction, but the warship, designed to withstand some of the harshest conditions, was able to recover. Still, this terrifying incident is a reminder of the dangers posed by the Southern Ocean, where ships and crews face a never-ending struggle against nature's most powerful forces. While warships brave monstrous waves in the Southern Ocean, some seafarers get up-close views of towering waves in more tropical waters. One such ship was the RMS Lusitania, a British ocean liner that met its fate on May 7, 1915, during the First World War. This disaster didn't involve towering waves or furious storms. It was a torpedo launched from a German U-boat that would forever change the course of history. The Lusitania was en route from New York to Liverpool, carrying passengers and cargo, when it was struck off the coast of Ireland by the U-20 submarine. The explosion was catastrophic. Within 18 minutes, the luxurious ocean liner was sinking, taking 1,198 lives out of the 1,962 people aboard. The passengers and crew were caught in a nightmare, with many having no chance to escape as the ship plunged into the icy waters of the Atlantic. The attack on the Lusitania caused international outrage, especially in the United States. While Germany defended the action, claiming the ship was carrying military supplies for Britain, the general public viewed it as an attack on innocent civilians. The loss of 128 Americans among the dead further intensified tensions, fueling anti-German sentiment across the globe. This tragic event didn't just claim lives, it shifted the course of history, playing a significant role in pushing the United States toward entering World War I in 1917. The sinking of the Lusitania remains one of the most devastating attacks on civilian ships in history, forever marking the dangers of the ocean during wartime. While some ships meet their end with catastrophic force, others narrowly escape disaster, only to face a new kind of nightmare. This was the case for the Viking Sky. The Viking Sky was a Norwegian cruise ship that found itself in a perilous situation off the coast of Norway. What began as a routine voyage turned into a life-threatening ordeal as the ship's engines failed due to low oil levels, causing it to lose power and drift toward the rocky shore. The incident occurred in Hustadvika Bay, a region known for its rough, frigid waters between the Norwegian cities of Ålesund and Trondheim. As the ship's engines failed, the Viking Sky began to drift uncontrollably, with its crew unable to stop its advance toward the coastline. With waves reaching up to 8 meters, 26 feet, and gusts of wind hitting speeds of 38 knots, 43 miles per hour, the conditions made it nearly impossible to regain control of the vessel. Inside the ship, the violent swaying caused furniture and fixtures to fly across the rooms, intensifying the chaos and panic among passengers. Realizing the imminent danger, the crew issued a mayday call. The ship's immediate risk of running aground prompted them to take desperate action. Thankfully, the crew was able to anchor the ship in the bay, buying crucial time for the evacuation process. But that was only the beginning of the battle. The area was known for its extreme conditions, with the weather making it difficult for rescue teams to approach the ship. Despite the dangerous weather, a response team of helicopters and boats was dispatched to evacuate the passengers. The evacuation itself was slow and hazardous. Given the violent movement of the ship, passengers had to be hoisted one by one from the deck to the waiting rescue helicopters, a delicate and time-consuming process. The ferry in Storm Elenia faced the fury of the sea under entirely different conditions. On February 17, 2022, Storm Elenia slammed into northern Germany, wreaking havoc with 94 miles per hour winds and torrential rains. One of the most terrifying moments during the storm was captured on a ferry traveling along the Elbe River between Hamburg and Finkenwerder. The footage taken from inside the harbor ferry shows the vessel struggling against the fierce winds and violent waves that battered it. As the ferry made its way along Route 62, passengers could be seen sitting anxiously at the front of the boat, staring directly into the path of the waves. Suddenly, without warning, a massive wave surged forward, crashing through the front windows and flooding the ferry. The passengers, already shaken by the violent rocking of the vessel, were caught completely off guard as water rushed into the ship. The sheer force of the wave left passengers terrified as they scrambled to escape their seats and get away from the flooding area. The water quickly began to pool inside the ferry, forcing those seated at the front to move to higher ground in a panic. The scene was chaotic, with frightened and wet passengers trying to maintain their balance as the boat continued to be buffeted by the storm. Other passengers from the passenger ferry Herjulferen in far warmer regions experienced their own nightmare at sea. On February 28th, the Herjolfur passenger ferry was navigating the waters between Vestmannajar Islands and Thorlakshofen, a routine journey that should have been smooth, but the sea had other plans. It wasn't the icy gales of northern Europe this time, but the unpredictable and often dangerous tropical storms of the South Pacific that threatened these passengers. This terrifying storm didn't stop at the cold Atlantic. On August 1st, speedboats off the coast of Phuket, Thailand, found themselves in the middle of a powerful monsoon storm that violently tossed the vessels around in massive waves. As the boats tried to carry tourists through the Andaman Sea, they encountered towering swells, each one sending the boats flying into the air, only to crash back down with bone-jarring force. For the passengers, it was a terrifying ride. Rain poured down and the waves pounded relentlessly, leaving them screaming in shock and fear as the boats struggled to stay afloat. The Thai Meteorological Department had issued urgent weather warnings that day, forecasting dangerous conditions in the region. They had predicted heavy rainfall and winds strong enough to shake the seas, with waves reaching up to 10 feet in some areas, while the Andaman Sea saw waves of up to 7 feet. These warnings were issued in advance, but it seemed the reality of navigating the stormy seas was even worse than anticipated. The Hat Nafarat Tharamuko Phi National Park had also issued advisories to all boat operators, urging them to ensure safety vests were on board and ready for use. But even with such precautions, there was no escaping the fury of the storm. This chaotic experience highlighted the dangers of sailing through the South Pacific during the annual monsoon season when thunderstorms and flash floods dominate the landscape. It was a brutal reminder of just how quickly tropical storms can escalate, leaving anyone at sea vulnerable to nature's wrath. While the fury of the monsoon in Thailand left tourists scrambling, life aboard vessels in the vast Pacific can also turn unpredictable, where the relentless forces of the ocean can make even a simple journey feel like a battle. One such instance was captured aboard a ship navigating the ever-volatile Pacific, where passengers experienced the harsh reality of life at sea when the vessel began rolling from side to side, caught in the grip of rough weather. For those inside the cabin, the experience was nothing short of disorienting. With the ship swaying drastically in the heavy seas, the constant rocking felt like a reminder that, no matter how advanced modern ships may be, they are still subject to the mighty power of the ocean. It was as if the ship itself was struggling against nature, each violent wave sending the ship tilting and rolling uncontrollably. Inside the cabin, this created a very unsettling atmosphere. Furniture sliding across the floor, personal items flying off shelves, and the constant sway making it hard to keep steady. For passengers, the sensation was more than just uncomfortable. It was unnerving. It wasn't just a stormy day at sea. It was a reminder of how quickly things could escalate on the open ocean, even for experienced sailors and passengers who have weathered rough seas before. For those who had never experienced the full force of the ocean's power, the experience could be terrifying. This cargo ship in storm at Kuril Islands was battling nature's fury. A cargo ship caught in a violent storm near the Kuril Islands knows this all too well. As the wind howls, the ship groans under the strain, and the ice clings to its hull. It becomes clear that no sailor is immune to the wrath of nature. Imagine being on deck, surrounded by nothing but darkness and towering waves, each one crashing down with relentless force, seemingly coming at you with a vengeance. The air is filled with the whistling wind, a sharp reminder of how hostile the environment is, while the constant creaking of the ship and the crackling of ice around you serve as eerie signals that the vessel is struggling to stay afloat against nature's fury. With every turn, the ship rolls dramatically, sending passengers and crew into a constant fight to maintain their balance. It's a relentless battle against forces far beyond human control. The Kuril Islands, situated in the North Pacific, are known for their harsh, frigid waters and unpredictable weather. The storm that rages in this region can be unmerciful, and this cargo ship, trapped in the midst of it all, faces a cruel reminder of how unforgiving the ocean can be. The waves, towering and dark, seem to rise from the depths, and in a terrifying instant, it feels as though the ship could be swallowed whole. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds, the crew presses on, maneuvering the ship through the storm with every ounce of experience and strength they have. As the battle with nature continues, every second at sea becomes a test of endurance, with each wave a reminder that even the toughest ships and the most experienced crews can be humbled by the ocean's power. The Coral Island storm is not just a storm, it's a fight for survival. While massive tanker ships fight their way through the fury of stormy seas, it's not just the size and power of the vessel that keeps them afloat, but the expertise and precision of the crew steering them through nature's most violent moments. Watch as this huge tanker ship cuts through monster waves in a storm. As the storm intensifies, tanker ships, massive and imposing, cut through monstrous waves, their hulls slicing into the turmoil of the ocean. But even these titans of the sea aren't immune to the wrath of nature. In conditions like this, where the sea churns with such force that it feels like the very ocean is trying to swallow the ship, it becomes clear that only the most experienced bridge crews can navigate through the chaos. The sight of a huge tanker ship battling monstrous waves is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. These colossal vessels seem almost indestructible, their size and strength a testament to modern engineering. However, in a storm like this, even their imposing presence can't shield them from the immense power of the ocean. Waves crash against the hull with such force that the ship's entire structure shakes, while towering walls of water seem to rise out of nowhere, threatening to engulf everything in their path. With every gust of wind and every wave that slams into the tanker's side, the ship sways, creaks, and groans, fighting to stay on course. This is a dangerous game of survival, and the bridge crew plays a crucial role. They must steer the ship with pinpoint precision, choosing the right course and timing their movements to avoid being caught in the worst of the storm's fury. The right decision can mean the difference between staying afloat or being another tragic statistic of ships lost in seas like this. Even a small miscalculation could send the ship tumbling into the depths of the ocean. In seas like these, many ships have met their end, swallowed whole by the unforgiving waves. The sheer unpredictability of nature means that no ship, no matter how large or technologically advanced, is ever truly safe. But with a skilled and focused crew at the helm, a tanker ship can survive the storm, cutting through the waves with a determined resilience that mirrors the strength of the sea itself. So, next time you're out at sea, or even watching a video of a ship battling insane weather, just remember how small we really are compared to the ocean. Don't forget to hit that like button and drop a comment about which ship battle was the wildest for you.